Dave's already come out and said that he was very accountable to the locker room and about the need to run more and to be more balanced. What's your perspective on how you guys were on Monday?
Yeah, I think anytime you're in the 40s of play count, it's either you're hitting a lot of explosive plays or you're not extending your drives. And for us, it was the latter. And turning the ball over in the red zone didn't help. We're trying to piggyback with what the defense was doing well early and giving us some chances at short fields. But then just some near misses that didn't allow us to extend the drives and get into the bulk of how we were trying to present our call sheet. So that's the pit in the chest when you come back, from a game like that, and you see the totals of carries and the lack of balance that you were able to play with, and it's just a near miss here, a near miss there to extend a couple drives to get that stuff going. It sits heavy with you for a little bit, but the guys know our intent. They know who we want to be. They know, the games that we've won, we have been balanced. We've done a good job of, utilizing both sides of it, and they know that's what we want to get back to. So that's the focus this week.
You and Dave have had a lot of success, even when you guys were in lesser positions in Seattle, but also in Tampa Bay, with guys who were experienced at the quarterback position. Baker obviously had played several years before you'd worked with him. Gino had worked a lot there, Russ. Is there a different aspect of this thing when you didn't inherit Bryce in year one and you guys are learning what kind of makes him tick over the last 2 years that you have to adjust to that maybe you didn't have to for a Baker or a Gino?
I would say they were veterans, when we were dealing with Baker and Gino, but they were also at, interesting times in their career where they were getting a new chance. So you had to learn who that guy became. He wasn't the guy that you might have evaluated in the draft process. He went through a lot of experiences too. I think you circle back to the Sunday night game and they were interviewing Baker. And he's like, yeah, LA was a formidable time for me, those 5 games and I changed. And the same went with Gino. And the same goes for Bryce. His first year before we got here, he wasn't the same guy, coming off of, out of Alabama. So going from year 1 with him to year 2 with him, it's a continual process to see how the guy's learning, see, what things he enjoys doing, what kind of concepts really are his, wheelhouse, and that we need to make sure we incorporate every week. And we're growing together. So, you come off of different style games and you learn something every week. And that's alongside of a bunch of young skill guys too. What works for Bryce, but also what works for Bryce with the group around him.
When a game unfolds the way Monday night does, and maybe you or others are saying, we're getting a little imbalanced, as you called it. Is it up to you, or who is it who can kind of tap Dave on the shoulder and say, hey, might want to introduce a few more runs again?
It's all of us. We're always talking. Goody's always, he's always pulling the shoulder, pulling the sleeve and saying, hey, if you only run it 35 times, we can get to 40, But no, it truly is those are conversations that are had. Every time that there's a change of possession, we've already had our conversations as an offensive staff, and then I bring those over to Dave, and there's good dialogue, and that includes the players. So we go into halftime, and then we say, okay, what does it look like? What does it need to look like going forward? To get things off on the right foot in the second half, and Goody's always great about saying, hey, this is what they're doing up front. This is how we need to combat some of the things they've showed early. And then you just hope to, again, extend those drives to be able to piece that together and get, a handful of those play calls started to see, okay, where's the second half going to take us?
Said he was frustrated when he put up that emoji on social. Did you see that? And what was your initial thought? And what's your conversation with him been like?
I heard about it. I didn't see it. I'm not really on social media either. I think that's for the betterment of my marriage. And but I'll let her cycle through some of that stuff for me. But no, for Rico, I think he's probably expressing all the frustrations that we all had. And again, that pit in the stomach that I had, getting on the flight where you feel like some of your best players didn't get a chance to completely showcase in a very important game. Yeah, that's on all of us, and that's to again make sure that anytime you only have 1 to 7 on third down and 46 total plays, we want to make sure that we're extending those drives so that we can increase that that load that we're putting on all of our guys, that we know the more chances they get, they're going to do something special. So they helped us in the pass game too. I don't think that should go overlooked. There's some huge plays that Rico and Chuba had, especially down the stretch when Bryce is going through his progressions, and they were available for him and making big plays. So, it's just a continual, diving back into our process when we get back in here. I don't know, it's got to be a quick turning of the page when you play on Monday night. That's a challenge to get those guys to lock back in today. But they all did. They're all professional about it. We had a great, was like 60 play walkthrough today to keep their legs fresh, but get their mentals back in it, and we'll be ready for LA.
I just have a question. The pit in your stomach, and not to continue to beat this, but when you realize, like, man, we could have done this better? Were you on the plane and you're watching film and you're like, we had these opportunities to run the ball? What did that look like?
Every drive, we really separated out. So if you have a 3 and out or if you have a 10-play drive, you say, okay, what was good, what was bad? And there's a constant reevaluation. You get a chance to take a breath at halftime, obviously, and say, okay, what happened? What do we need to make sure that we're incorporating into the second half? But, I think it's kind of the natural thing. The post-game presser, coach is like, I need to go watch the film, right? And that is true. You get the full truth, the full view of all 11 when you do get to sit down and truly watch the tape. And it's not just coming through avenues of, hey, I was watching this guy, this happened on this play, this is why this one did or did not work. You only have two eyes to put on the field at a time, and the still shots when you're on the sideline, but it doesn't tell the full story until you can truly sit down, watch all the views, and then talk to your staff about it.
When you guys had Curhan in Seattle, he was primarily right tackle. What allows him to be effective inside when he has to come in and jump in midstream like the other day?
He's really smart. He does a really good job of picking things up on the fly. He's played mostly tackle for us in Seattle, but then was available to us at all 4 spots, not necessarily center. But the guy's really smart. He picks things up really fast, and he created a good amount of trust with Joe and Goody in a pretty short amount of time. And then just as a player, he covers guys up. He's a big guy. He walks in the room and you see it right away. He's a big guy. He can cover guys up and stay attached in his own way to get guys to the second level. So we're excited, that he came in and he held his own. And the guys have done that in that room all year long. Again, it's a testament to Joe and Goody, just how they train those guys and how they have every single guy ready, on a weekly basis. And Jake's a perfect example of that.
Brad, to follow up on Darren's question. You've had so many different offensive line combinations, but that right guard position seems to be like a constant turnstile. How does that impact your blocking strategy, especially in the run game, on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to give all the hints away to our guys down here the stretch, but I would say, there's definitely guys you can lean on in the run game, and you find different schemes to complement whatever our self-scout is that we put out there of directional runs or types of schemes that we're running with a certain individual. We want to make sure we're doing enough to protect it. But at the same time, we hold a high standard to that whole room of saying, hey, we want to hang our hat on running the ball here, and that's left, right, gap scheme, mid-zone, wide zone, toss, crack. We want all of you guys to be able to step in and do that stuff because you really don't want to. I've been on teams where you lean heavy to the left side and then you become imbalanced and, you got to do certain things schematically to protect it. Well, for us, we'd rather just take what the defense is giving us, get our advantageous double teams in certain areas based on the fronts and based on, what they're doing at the second level, and then just running our schemes accordingly. And our guys have done a great job of allowing us to be balanced because they own the system that's in place. And then the drop-off hasn't been that significant because those guys are getting great training.